Namaste. Mama says namaste.
Another day goes by, and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart.
Welcome to the Mama Says Namaste audio blog, where every week I take you from chaos to clarity by understanding personality styles, bringing awareness and intention into your home, and highlighting how the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us. Let's kick it off. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. This is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That was from Marianne Williamson in A Return to Love, and that is our quote for the day. You are listening to the third episode in the Know Yourself, Know Others series. And holy cow, this thing did not go off like I had planned. I had it all laid out where it was supposed to be promoted on June 2nd, my birthday, and this would be the first, and you could listen to all these podcasts. And then I tried to submit it to iTunes, and all of a sudden, May 27th, my podcast goes live. So, went a little bit earlier, which is typical of my personality style, which is a bit ready, fire, aim. This will be my fourth podcast out there, and I am still very open to what you want to hear. I'm focusing on series because it's great to have a binge-worthy topic that you can dive in and you can really learn a lot about, especially when I'm doing these in under 30-minute nuggets. So you can get a lot on one topic and then we can go on to another topic. That being said, I have so many people that ask me about our travels and they want to know what we're doing and how we chose to do it and any tips on doing it themselves and wanting to live this dream of a life that we have. And so I want to share that as well and add that in. If you have questions about personality styles and understanding that, or about our travels or anything else, shoot them to me at ashley@mamasaysnamaste.com and I'll incorporate it into a future podcast. Now, I want to talk about personality styles and add in some of our personal story in here. And I want to get one thing straight. The personality styles people think about in a work setting. And so when we start to translate it into home, that's when I start to lose interest with some families. And they think, not really. You know, you're willing to invest in your business and do all these self-help things. But when it comes to family self-help, where it's not a financial profit, then people tend to back off and say that it's not really worth it. Well, the goal of my podcast is not just to push product sales or anything like that. But let me say one thing. It may not be financially lucrative to invest and buy stuff to better your family dynamics. But I don't think you can put a price on having powerful relationships and connection and truly enjoying your family. I know too many people that they go on a family vacation and then they need a vacation from a vacation because it was so stressful and there was tensions. Or you have relationships where you feel like you're walking on eggshells and you aren't sure what to say or what's going to tick somebody off. Or you try so hard to communicate what it is that you need, sometimes to the point that you're blind to what's going on with the other person, and it causes all kinds of conflict. I feel like understanding who you are and understanding who the people are that live under your roof is so critical in having a positive family dynamic. And quite honestly, if you are looking at a family life where you cringe and where it is tense and uncomfortable and confrontational and there's more conflict and discomfort in your home, what kind of family life is that? You dreamed about having a family one day. Now you have it. Let's let it be what you dreamed of. But you can't just assume that's going to naturally fall in place. People say marriage is hard work and raising a family is hard work. Well, it is on one hand, and on the other hand, it's a beautiful thing, and you want to add the fun and the joy back in. The more you understand the personality styles of the people that live under your roof, the more you can add that stuff in. So I want to talk about them and talk about why it has any relevance to family. So, of course, we'll use my family as an example. You learn about what we're doing, why we're RVing, and what we're doing with it, and also get a handle on these personality styles. So I'm going to talk about the S personality, which typically you would go through these and I'd go D, and then I, and then S, and then C, because it spells disc. It's easy to do. But I wanted to start with the S style because that's the majority of the population. About 69% of people are a high S personality style. And yes, that's going to be broad because not every single person has been assessed and we know everybody's personality style. But when you look at what's important right now, social entrepreneurism and giving back and making a difference, and the businesses that we see that are doing so well are the ones that are doing things for the good of humankind. And we see a rise in being environmentally conscious and aware and supporting our fellow man. Well, that all fits into this S personality. They're the steady and stable ones in our lives. They're reserved, but they're also people-oriented. So S's desire a great deal of security, and they love routine and predictability. If you are to compare it to animals, an S is like a golden retriever. You think loyal and steady and calm, and they're by your side, the shoulder to lean on. They're also like a dove, which would be the peacemaker, the one that brings calm and serenity into the relationship. Even if you add in the earth elements, an S would be water with its smooth and steady flow. Another quote that really resonates with an S is, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And that was by Maya Angelou. S's are the sentimental ones. They're the ones that hold on to old movie stubs and keep the cards and the letters in a special keepsake box. They hold on to things not because of the thing, but because of the connection to the memory and the person it reminds them of. They love to recall fond memories so they can relive those great feelings of the past. They're familiar and they're comforting. They're sweet and sympathetic. If you have an S in your corner, you're a lucky person because this loyalty goes beyond any other. When I talk about holding on to things, my mom is like that. I mean, here I am, a minimalist. We have done so much to clear out everything in our home and to really clear our heads from the clutter that was physically present, as well as the mental and emotional clutter that we carried around. And that's another series that I wanted to focus on, and really talking about freeing all of that up and how the process of minimizing and becoming a minimalist is so much more than just getting rid of the extra clutter in your junk drawer. As we were getting ready for RV in the States, we cleaned out so much. And it was really hard for my mom to see because my mom holds on to everything. I mean, she still has the dried flowers that my dad had gotten for her for their anniversary several years ago. Things like that, where she would hold on to stuff for their sentimental value. And it was really hard for her to see me let go of things because for her, she connected so much of the things to the memories behind it. And going back to those memories was so precious. Now, I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing at all. It's a beautiful thing as long as she uses that in moderation. Minimizing isn't for everyone. And there are plenty of different ways to choose how to create your life. My mother is not living my life. She has created a haven of peace in her home. Literally, that's what she calls it. She's written a book called Creating a Haven of Peace, where she talks about how she created this welcoming, soothing environment that so epitomizes her S personality style. And you walk through her house, and she does have way more trinkets and and collectible things and knickknacks than what I have ever had. But each one of them has a story. There's some significance to it that relates it back to a relationship that's important to her in her life. And that's a beautiful thing. And for her, it is her home. It is her comfort. And she really enjoys all of the memories that are brought up by the things that she has in her home. Now, an S personality, being the peacemaker and being non-confrontational, not caring for conflict, you can get the impression that an S is weak, but that's so opposite from the truth. I had a high S manager that came to one of my work events where I was speaking on personality styles, and he was a charming guy. You could just look at him and you could see the kindness flowing from his eyes. And what he said, I feel, is such a perfect mantra for S's everywhere. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. It's not that an S personality is weak. They simply use more discernment on what is worth the battle. Their nature allows people to go at their own pace and treats people the way they really want to be treated. You may have somebody who possibly may appear a little bit shy. They may be easygoing, reserved, timid, and undemanding. They can be very in tune with emotions, so a harsh tone of voice may be enough to completely crush them. You think about that when it comes to parenting. And if you have an S personality, it may just be simply talking to your child is enough to completely have them shift their behavior and their actions, because they are very sensitive to what emotions are going on and what emotions you're emitting when you talk to them, as opposed to maybe a high D or a high I, where it takes physically holding on to them and getting in their face before they even hear you because they're so lost in their own world of crazy. S's are also harmonious and affectionate, and it may take them a little bit longer to get things done because they do have lower energy, but they are very lovable, easygoing, and sweet. It's funny, when I know personality styles the way that I do, sometimes how hard it is to convey in a concise way how great each personality style is. I can go down so many paths with how I describe it, and everybody is a combination of these different personality styles. So when I go to describe an S in its true form, not every single person's going to connect because you usually have a combination. So you may have an SI personality, and you're so fed by people and relationships because an S and an I are both very, very people-focused. You thrive on having those relationships, and it may be that because you have that high I, even though you're an S, you're a lot more outgoing than what a typical S would be. And you do feed off of the energy of others, and you can really respond in a powerful and outgoing way, even as an S. Or it may be that you're an SC, which would be more task-oriented. A C and a D are very task-oriented. So maybe that you are a little bit more reserved and you do like the detail and follow through. And sometimes the biggest issue is being able to meet deadlines, because anytime that there's any pressure, it causes you to shut down because it can be too overwhelming. My husband is an IS. And because he is a high I, he can bounce all over the place, talk with anyone. He's a storyteller and an entertainer. But the S part is what happens when he's stressed out. When he starts to feel insecure, then what I'm looking at is those S tendencies. And so as we were prepping for going on our trip to RV the States full time, there were a lot of unknowns, and there was a lot of upheaval. During the year that we left, we were doing everything to get our house ready. We were minimizing like crazy, clearing it out, getting it set up to be an Airbnb. We were making sure that we covered all of the to-dos. I mean, you think about what all you do when you're going to leave your house for a week. We're talking about leaving our house indefinitely. We didn't even have an end date in place. So there's a lot of things that we had to do. On top of that, I'm working for my father's business, and I'm trying to build up Mama Says Namaste. We have 3 kids at home, no school to send them off to because we unschool them. So they're all hanging out. So we've got 3 children with their demands. We have regular house maintenance demands. We have prepping for leaving. We have me juggling these 2 jobs on top of the household. And then Nathan, my husband, as an IS, was in the real estate world. And he thrived in it. And there was so much good that came from it. He absolutely loved serving people. And as an S, that sometimes that little semantic shift changes things a lot. An S person can be a very effective salesperson, not because they're selling, but because they are serving others. And I would even ask Nathan, he'd sell a house, and I'd be like, what was the commission? He says, the commission doesn't matter. I just found a couple their home. And that was what he was so excited about, was helping couples find that home that was a perfect fit for them. And that is such an S personality. He was truly serving people, and he was thriving in that. But going back to that year before we left, we had chaos going everywhere, and the Nashville market was exploding. So there was a lot of turnover, and there were a lot of people coming in who were needing homes. So Nathan was super busy. So he's being pulled at work. We have all of the family family stuff going on with getting ready to leave and everything else. And on top of all of that, his parents were also going through a difficult divorce. That brings in a whole other dynamic. And for those of you who have experienced divorce in any way, we empathize. It is not easy. And it's not just for the 2 people who are in the middle of the divorce, but it affects everyone else. It is a ripple effect that goes on, and it shifts relationships, and you have to come back in and reassess what this new relationship will be. When 2 separate, all of a sudden you've got 2 individuals that you have to reestablish new relationships with. So there was a lot of upheaval going on. There was a lot of unknown. We didn't know how long we were going to be gone. We were navigating new relationship dynamics with his whole family. We were leaving what was bringing in the most income for our family, because Nathan was looking at, do I walk away from real estate and all of the money that came with that? Just trying to navigate this whole process, it was very stressful. So you have this S personality style. S's thrive on comfort and security. That's their gift. Comfort and security, nurturing. This is a beautiful asset for an S personality. And when that's challenged, and when they feel insecure, what happens is they'll start to shut down. They become apathetic. So I had one lady who talked about how she grew up, her parents would say she was lazy all the time. And it really got to her, because she's like, I'm not lazy, but I don't have the drive to push to do this right now. And we talked about how some of that is, if you don't feel secure, and if you feel like there's going to be conflict, then for an S, it's easier to shut down or pull away, withdraw, than it is to push forward and potentially deal with conflict. And so Nathan had the perfect recipe to completely shut down on life and become apathetic, not care, go through the motions and quit processing, because there wasn't much security going on around him. And so one of the things that we did, recognizing this in him, recognizing how volatile everything was and how much stuff we had up in the air. You know, my personality style, I'm super driven, and we're going to plow through and get it done even if we don't sleep for 3 weeks. That doesn't work for my husband. And so we created what we called the 7-to-7 rule. And what that was is, at 7 o'clock at night, our kids went to bed. Now, it didn't mean they had to go to sleep and that they were out for the night, but that meant that at 7 o'clock, they were to be in their rooms reading or doing whatever, because we had clocked out. We were done with parenting for the day. We were ready to focus on our relationship. And we stressed that to the kids. It's important that you let mommy and daddy have time to focus on our relationship and to connect and talk about the day, so that we can be more present with you and better parents tomorrow. And so every night we would sit and we would talk. Now, considering all of the things going on, not every part of our conversation was all roses and unicorns. There were some tough things we were discussing. tough decisions we were making and what we were going to pull away from and what was going on with all of our emotions and things that were a little bit more stressful. Well, we made a decision first off that wasn't going to enter our home. We're very sensitive to the energy in our home, and we want to keep it very positive and uplifting. But we're a family that doesn't hold any secrets. So it's not like we don't address negative behavior or negative things in our lives. It's just that we don't want that to be the energy when you walk into our home. And so 7 to 7 rule. Every night we'd go out on our back porch. And we created a back porch that was just our sweet little haven. We had big comfy papasan chairs and string lights and a little waterfall that Nathan had made in our little garden next to us. And it was a very sweet and comforting and beautiful place. And it was outside where you can air all the dirty laundry and it doesn't stink up the whole house, right? So we would sit out there every night and we'd process through the day. We'd talk and talk and talk, with Nathan being an I and an S. That you can talk all night long, and so am I. And so we would just talk and process through everything. And so even in moments of insecurity, he knew that he had the security, the consistency, and the comfort of us having our porch talks every single night. And we held on to that very diligently because it was that critical for our relationship, for our family, and for our own mental and emotional health to be able to process through everything. If I hadn't known his personality style, if I hadn't recognized that, I may have not known of something so powerful and consistent that I could have done that would have helped him through a rough time. Being able to recognize that and knowing, okay, for his sanity, for his ability to process through this, we need to create security in an insecure situation. That was huge. And I'm sitting here saying, let's go RV the States. And I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know how long we're going to be gone. We're just going to go and play and have fun. And his I's going, yay, because an I loves to have fun and play and loves spontaneity. And his S is going, what in the heck did you just say? I don't think I can do this. And so we had to kind of ease into it. And we take it in little baby steps. Okay. This week, what's one thing we're going to do? He, in his real estate world, had read the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it's a really powerful little book that applies for any aspect of your life, not just in real estate, but it narrows it down to what is one thing you can do right now to move forward. And so often, especially in S, it can be really overwhelming. There's so many different things going on, and life does not ever stay just calm and fluid forever. Life has seasons. Just like my podcast is going to have seasons. Life has seasons. There is a time and a place. And sometimes even that means that the people that were in your life, those shift, those relationships shift. It may be that they're only in your life for a short bit of time. It may be that they stay in your life, but the relationship changes. And you think about just the simple process of growing up. And how much does your relationship shift when you're a parent of a 2-year-old, and then when you're a parent of a 16-year-old, and then when you're a parent, but your child is in their 20s and then their 30s. And then there comes the shift even as you're older and you're still a daughter or a son of your parents. And all of a sudden you switch from being the child to being the parent with them as you make decisions in their later years and potentially help them navigate sometimes when they can't. And I've experienced this as we have had grandparents that have suffered from dementia and Alzheimer's, and all decisions were passed on to the children and they became the parents in that situation. So you think just about the parent-child dynamic, whether you are thinking of it as the parent or the child, those roles shift in life. There are seasons to everything. How are you going to navigate them? How are you going to move through them all when you're an S and you like everything to be consistent and slow and steady? Well, like water is not always stagnant and still. And when it is, it starts to really stink. You got to have flow. It has to keep on going. But water doesn't jump sporadically from one thing to another unless there's a motor propelling it. there's not just a quick jump and leap all over the place. It flows in a slow, smooth, steady way. That's how an S is going to thrive. So look for how you can have movement in a way that allows you to process. When you see an S start to shut down, some ways that they may cope is to numb their emotions. So it may be TV or video games, sleeping, drinking, smoking, drugs, anything to dull the intensity and make it more manageable. So what you want to do is look for how you can provide security and consistency. That doesn't mean guaranteeing that life is going to be exactly in this one way, because we know that's not going to happen. Everybody is going to throw curveballs. Life throws curveballs. The weather can be completely unpredictable. There's so much that we cannot predict in life. So what can we hold on to? One thing we can hold on to is being intentional with our relationships. Yes, relationships shift and change, and dynamics will turn. There may be seasons. But one of the things that I say as far as my relationship with Nathan goes is I didn't just marry him on June 26th, 2004. I married him again on June 27th, 2004, and on December 15th, 2004, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Because I made the decision every single day to commit to the relationship and to love him with my whole heart. And it may have shifted. And the way that I love him now is very different than the way I loved him back in 2004 when we got married, or before that when we were dating. It's a different love. It's a deep love. And it's a love that brings into account the experiences, the emotions, and the life that we've lived over these past 13 years. Making a consistent commitment to love allows for the security and comfort without saying that it is going to be exactly this way for the rest of your life. We make the decision to love one another on a daily basis. And I think that for any relationship, that has to happen. You decide for that day, you will love them completely. I'm not doing that as a way to build insecurity in a relationship. I'm doing that as an intentional commitment on a daily basis that it's worth it to keep on doing it. Just like it's, you buy flowers one time for your significant other does not mean that you're covered for the rest of your life. No, you made a sweet deposit and investment in their lives, but it doesn't cover you forever. You have to keep on doing stuff. Love is a verb. It's not just something that sits there. It is an action that you do every single day. Where am I going with this? I want you to think of these identifiers: loyal, kind, calm and steady, low energy, observant, reliable, non-confrontational, indecisive, competent, peacemaker, patient, following through with your tasks, being sensitive, quiet but witty, respecting authority, loves serving and supporting others, resists change, resents being pushed, and can shut down or become passive-aggressive, easygoing, relaxed. Who does that bring to mind for you? Who is it that you think of that falls in that category? Is it you? Is it your significant other? Is it your children? That is that S personality style. What motivates them is their deep connections with others and feeling needed. Emphasizing that you need their help is a powerful way to say, I appreciate you and I respect what you bring to the table. When they feel insecure, overwhelmed, or when life is completely unpredictable with super fast transitions and they aren't sure what they're going to be hit with, that's when you start to see all of those wonderful strengths turn into a reaction, and it can be something that is a negative. And that for an S is just basically shutting down. So I want to leave you with some tips to help your loved one grow in this. Help them express their feelings. Check in. Don't let it wait until it festers into something big and monumental. That's when breakups do occur in relationships. That's when things stop because you don't say anything, you don't say anything, and then you explode and you blow up with something huge that's a really big issue, and the other person may wonder, that came out of left field. I have no clue where that came from. And what an S has done is has harbored this. They've let it slide until it comes to a point they can't take it anymore. And it becomes an explosion, it becomes more serious, and it's harder to let go of. And an S can carry a grudge like no other. make sure that you are expressing your feelings and you are communicating clearly, and talk about the small things, because the small things always can turn into those big things. So discuss it when it first pops in your mind to keep the communication open. So it's interesting because with an S, they don't like conflict. But if you don't bring stuff up until it gets to the point that you explode, then that conflict becomes so much larger. So if you don't want conflict and confrontation in a relationship, whenever there is the smallest thing, bring it to light so that it never becomes the big thing that then ends up being too unbearable to handle. For an S, if you have an S child, teach them how to make an informed decision so they have confidence in their ability. Help them adapt to a faster pace when needed. Sometimes for me, when it comes to my husband or to my kids, that means if we need to get going really fast and they're moving at their slow pace, it's not, hurry up, get on, go. It's, hey, let's do this together, come with me. And I hold their hand through the process. And I go fast with them. So don't force and push, but say, come with me and I'll do it with you. Practice positive self-talk. Get involved in stuff that is a slight bit out of your comfort zone. You can get stuck in complacency doing the same thing over and over again because it's comfortable. So look at other things that you can make your comfort zone. Maybe it's waking up every day with a gratitude list, writing things out, having affirmations around, having some things that are some consistent habits that you've created in your life that help to make you feel like life is consistent even when it's not always. And then push yourself to move outside of the norm and do something new. What are you going to try new this week? Change can be a super positive thing. So don't limit yourself on your growth and personal development just because change is scary. Look for ways to do it with the support of others and finding consistency in other areas of your life. And if you're dealing with an S, give them space, but don't allow them to shut down. Make sure you encourage and help to pull out the desire in them to move forward in life and not just stay in their own comfort zone. Some encouraging phrases to say for an S person to an S personality. I so appreciate your help. I love your compassionate heart. I love to hear what you have to say. Thank you for being so patient with me. You really thought that through. That shows me how important it was to you. I'm really grateful for your support. And finally, some little tips. If you are angry, tone it down. Strong aggressive approaches are too intimidating for an S. Your tone of voice and body language immediately set the stage for whether the person you're talking to is either going to be listening or retreating from conflict. So make sure you are aware not just of the words you say, but the energy you're emitting when you say it. Is it very tight-lipped and you're just very mad and angry about what it is? And if that's the case, it may not matter what words you're saying. They're hearing the tone and the emotion behind it, and they're automatically retreating and backing off from this conflict. Allow for consistency and routine in your daily life. So you do allow for some comfort and predictability. And like I said, it may not be, in the middle of a move and all kinds of craziness. There may not be a whole lot of consistency and routine, but find something. Wake up 30 minutes earlier and have 30 minutes to sit and drink your coffee and stare out the window. Do something that allows for consistency in your life because it's critical for you to be able to move forward and not shut down. Give an S time to adapt to the changes. If you know something's coming, a change is coming, give them advance notice as much as you can so they can prepare and be able to think and talk through the concerns. They are not necessarily ones that love surprises, so allow them to plan and process. And when they are hurt, they can build up resentment and carry those deep grudges. So work through ways to process and let things go, and stress the importance of letting the negative emotions out instead of just stuffing them in. And the last thing is, if you want a quick cheat sheet to find out about somebody, simply say, tell me your story. An S personality style is going to immediately tell you about their relationships. They may start it out by saying, well, I'm a mother of 3 children. I've been married to my husband for almost 13 years now. And we decided that we weren't going to wait for one day to live out our dreams. And we made it an intention to go ahead and do it now. So we're traveling the States in a travel trailer full time and loving every minute of it. And that would be an S response. Next week, I'll dive into one of the other personality styles. I definitely want to hear your feedback on this and the way that I'm trying to incorporate in a little bit of our story as well. I want to know what questions you have and what you think of the podcast so far. Please, if you like it, subscribe, rate, and review. I want to hear your feedback, and if you know anything about podcasts and iTunes, I really want to have that review as well because that helps more people to hear the message and for it to get out there and hopefully help other families to grow and really understand how the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us. Namaste.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the